Good morning, students of class 3. Today, I'll be continuing with lesson 2, The Inauspicious Justice, given on page number 14 of your Wordsworth English Reader book. Now, those of you having books, please open your books and turn to page number 14 of your Wordsworth English Reader book. Students, I have already read and explained this lesson and discussed the word meanings and exercise A of comprehension, that is rearranging the following sentences in the correct order of the events as they happened in the story. Now, before I move further with question and answers and other exercises of this chapter, I would like to revise exercise A of your comprehension, that is rearranging the following sentences in the correct order of the events as they happen in the story. Students, if you remember the correct event and if you write it in the form of paragraph, the correct order of events, this will also be the summary of your lesson. Now, summary is what you understand from that story. That story can be written in a shorter form. So, again, I am repeating and revising exercise A so that the story is clear to you, and then we'll proceed with the other exercises. Now, please turn to page number 17. We'll revise exercise A. Rearrange the following sentences in the correct order of the events as they happen in the story. Now, students, the third sentence will come in the first place. That is, Emperor Akbar saw a hawker with a cart loaded with goods. Emperor Akbar saw a hawker with a cart loaded with goods. Now, in the second sentence, the second sentence will come. He tripped and fell down and had to stay at home. He tripped and fell down and had to stay at home. Now, in the third sentence, students, the sixth sentence will come. Birbal had also taken the day off and Akbar felt very dejected. This was the third sentence. The sixth sentence will come in the third sentence. Now, the fourth sentence will be the fourth sentence itself. A fly fell into his juice, so Akbar remained thirsty. A fly fell into his juice, so Akbar remained thirsty. Now, again, the fifth sentence will be in the fifth place only. His wife's brother met with an accident. Now, after that, what had happened in the story? Now, sentence 1 will come in the sixth place. Akbar quarreled with his wife. Akbar quarreled with his wife. Now, in the seventh sentence, the eighth sentence will come. The emperor wondered why he had had such a bad day. And the last sentence, that is the eighth one, in the eighth sentence, the seventh sentence will come. He sent the hawker to the gallows. So, if you write the correct order in the form of a paragraph, this will also be the summary of your lesson. So, once again, I'll read the summary. Emperor Akbar saw a hawker with a cart loaded with goods. He tripped and fell down and had to stay at home. Birbal had also taken the day off and Akbar felt very dejected. A fly fell into his juice, so Akbar remained thirsty. His wife's brother met with an accident. Akbar quarreled with his wife. The emperor wondered why he had had such a bad day. He sent the hawker to the gallows. This was the summary, but the end was a little more which has not been added in this. That is when the hawker requested the king's emperor's men to fix a meeting with Birbal. Birbal came and met the hawker, and on the final day when the hawker was going to be hanged to the gallows, the executioner asked him his last wish. So he requested the executioner that he wanted to make a proclamation, that is an announcement, that nobody should see Emperor Akbar's face early in the morning. Else, whoever sees his face in the morning will be sent to the gallows just like him. So, the executioner passed this message to Emperor Akbar. Then, after hearing this, Akbar immediately realized that he was making a big mistake. He was being unjust. He was punishing an innocent man. So, he immediately called for the hawker and set him free and also gave him a bag full of gold coins. Thus, Birbal's intelligence had saved the hawker's life as well. He had saved Emperor Akbar for not punishing an innocent man. So, the moral of the story, student, is that we should be rational in our thoughts and we should never consider anything to be inauspicious or unlucky. Now, let's start with exercise B. Answer the following questions. Students, our first question is, why did Akbar miss an important meeting? As we have read in the story, why did Akbar miss an important meeting? Try to recall. Now I'll read the answer. Please listen to me carefully. After completing his bath, he tripped and fell down. He got his ankle swollen and was in great pain. He had to be held back to rest. So he missed an important meeting. Akbar went to the bath and after finishing his bath, he tripped and fell down. And when he fell down, he was hurt. His ankle was swollen. And then Emperor Akbar was in great pain. He couldn't even walk on his own, so he had to be held back to rest. And just because of that pain, he was unable to attend the meeting. So he missed it. Once again, I'll repeat the answer. Please listen to me carefully. After completing his bath, he tripped and fell down. He got his ankle swollen and was in great pain. He had to be held back to rest, so he missed an important meeting. Hope this answer is clear to you. Now let's move to the second question. Why did Akbar send the hawker to the gallows? Why did Akbar send the hawker to the gallows? Because what had happened? Akbar thought that he had a very bad day. He had to face all sorts of problems. He fell down, his ankle got swollen. Then what happened? A fly, he wanted to meet Birbal. He had called for Birbal, but then unfortunately Birbal had taken off that day, so he could not be contacted and Akbar could not enjoy his company. So after that, to uplift his mood, Akbar called for a glass of juice. Then before he could drink the juice, a fly had fallen into his juice, so he couldn't drink. He had to remain thirsty. After that, a news came that his wife met with his wife's brother, his wife's brother met with an accident. So his wife had to rush. After that, Akbar quarreled with his wife in the evening and he showed bad temper to all his servants. So it was altogether a bad day for Akbar. And he thought to take rest, and suddenly, while taking rest, a thought came to his mind that early in the morning he had seen the hawker's face. And just because seeing his inauspicious face, he had to face all the troubles. So this thought came into Akbar's mind. So he thought, for me, that hawker was unlucky. Seeing his face was unlucky. So he punished. Now, for the answer, we will write Akbar had a bad day with all sorts of troubles. He considered the hawker's face. In hawker's, apostrophe S will come. He considered the hawker's face inauspicious as he saw his face in the morning. So he sent the hawker to the gallows. Again, I'm repeating the answer. Akbar had a bad day with all sorts of troubles. He considered the hawker's face inauspicious as he saw his face in the morning. So he sent the hawker to the gallows, because Akbar mm, became superstitious for some time, and he thought for all his trouble, who was responsible? The hawker. So that superstitious in his mind made him punish the hawker. But at the end, Birbal came and saved the hawker's life. Now, question number 3. What proclamation did the hawker wish to make? Proclamation means announcement. Okay, the hawker, please listen to my answer. The hawker wished to warn the people of the city not to see the emperor's face in the morning, or else they would be sentenced to the gallows just like him. Akbar thought that the hawker's face was unlucky, but then the hawker also thought that he also had seen Akbar's face in the morning. So that is the reason, without having been done anything wrong, he was being punished and sent to the gallows. His life was coming to end. So it was both the sides. Akbar considered the hawker's face unlucky. Same way, the hawker also considered Akbar's face unlucky, inauspicious. So the answer will be, once again I'm repeating it, the hawker wished to warn the people of the city not to see the emperor's face in the morning, or else they would be sentenced to the gallows just like him. Again I'm repeating, the hawker wished to warn the people of the city not to see the emperor's face in the morning, or else they would be sentenced to the gallows just like him. Now, our fourth question is, why do you think Akbar set the hawker free? Now, what made Akbar free the hawker? So, our answer will be, I think, because we think, isn't it? I think Akbar set the hawker free because he must have realized that the hawker was an innocent person, not at all responsible for his bad day. I think Akbar set the hawker free because he must have realized that the hawker was an innocent person, not at all responsible for his bad day. Now, students, when Akbar came to know about the proclamation that the hawker wanted to make, he realized that if I consider the hawker's face unlucky, the same way the hawker is also considering my face unlucky. So I am punishing him without any reason. So after realizing this, that he rectified, he corrected his mistake, and he set the hawker free and also gave him a bag of gold coins. And he thanked Birbal because he knew that Birbal was the only intelligent fellow who could have thought about it and who made the emperor realize about his mistake without annoying him. Now, question number 5. What lesson do you learn from this story? What lesson have you learned from this story? We have already discussed. Now I am repeating the answer. Please listen to me carefully. From this story, we learn that we should always be rational, 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 rational in our thoughts, and never consider anything or anybody to be inauspicious or a bad omen. Before forming any opinion about others, we should put ourselves in their shoes. Students, this story teaches us that we should always be rational. Rational means logical. There's a logic behind everything. And just like that, we should not form any opinion. Just because we have been hearing that this is bad. No, you need to think it logically. Is it really bad or not? So, before forming any opinion about anyone, you should put yourself in that person's place. if I think like this about that person, the same way, put yourself in that person's place and think. The other person would also think the same thing about you. So never, never form any opinion before putting yourself in his place. And nothing is superstitious. We have kept on hearing from many people that if a, for example, I'm telling you, like a black cat or any cat crosses the road, you should not cross the road because that's a bad omen. So students, nothing like superstitious is there. It is just our thoughts which makes anything bad or good. So if you think positive, you will achieve positive and good results. So again, I'm repeating this answer. Please listen to me carefully. From this story, we learn that we should always be rational in our thoughts and never consider anything or anybody to be inauspicious or a bad omen. Before forming any opinion about others, we should put ourselves in their shoes. So, students, I believe the question and answers are clear to you. I'll be also uh, posting all the exercise in the Snap homework as well as the WhatsApp group. So, if you have now, students, we'll start with exercise C, that is find words from the story that have similar meaning as the following. Now, students, these similar meaning words are also known as synonyms, which will be continuing in our language structure also. Now, we have to find the words of similar meaning, same meanings from the lesson we study. Now, our first word is seller. Seller means a person who sells goods for living. Like in the lesson, whom did Emperor Akbar saw early in the morning? He saw a hawker. So, hawker means seller. So, here the word for sellers with same meaning will be hawker. 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 Now, second word is sad. Sad means when you feel sad. When was Emperor Akbar said? When he tripped, he couldn't meet Birbal, he couldn't drink his juice. So he was dejected. He was feeling dejected. So sad means dejected, and the spelling of dejected is Dejected. 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 Now, the third word is unfortunate. And unfortunate, read the title of the lesson. What is the name of the lesson? The inauspicious justice. So, from the title, you can get the word of similar meaning, which means unfortunate, unlucky. And the word is inauspicious. Right. Inauspicious. So again, I'm repeating spelling of inauspicious. 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 Now, fourth word, continued. Something in continuation. है ना? So, progressed. As the day progressed, as the day continued, Emperor Akbar experienced some more bad things. So progressed. The spelling of progressed is Progressed. Again, I'm repeating Progressed. Progress. Now, next word is stopping. Stopping means preventing. 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 So again I'm repeating. Seller, hawker. Sad, dejected. Unfortunate, inauspicious. Continued, progress. Stopping, preventing. So students, I believe you have learned 5 new words from this lesson. Now you have enriched your vocabulary. Now let's try to frame sentences from some of these words. Fine. So that the meaning is more clear to you. Let's take unfortunate. So my first word is unfortunate. Unfortunate means unlucky. So the one sentence I'll make and you try to frame on your own. So my first word is unfortunate. Try to frame a sentence on unfortunate. My sentence is he was unfortunate to lose in the final round. He was unfortunate to lose in the final round. He was unfortunate to lose in the final round. For try to understand, if a person is he kept on winning all the rounds and he was sure that he will win the final round also, but unfortunately he loses the final round. So I've tried to make a sentence on this. He was unfortunate to lose in the final round. Now second word is dejected. Dejected means sad. Dejected means sad. Dejected means sad. And my sentence on dejected is, I felt dejected after losing my job. If somebody loses the job, he will be sad. So my sentence is, I felt dejected after losing my job. Children, when do you feel dejected? Especially when your maternal grandmother is about to leave you, or you leave her during summer vacations. Your summer vacations are over and you need to be back to your place. Your schools are going to start. So you are dejected when you um, are leaving your maternal grandmother. So you are dejected when, so this is the feeling. Fine. Now my third word is hawker. And I have tried to make a sentence so that the meaning of hawker is clear to you. Fine. A hawker is a person who travels about selling goods for a living. So I've made a sentence on its meaning. A hawker is a person who travels about selling goods for a living. Now, my fourth word which I have taken from this lesson is progress. Progress means continued. The children have progressed under their parents' guidance. The children have progressed under their parents' guidance. The children have progressed under their parents' guidance. So, and students, in this parents, after S put an apostrophe sign. After S, because parents is plural and we are trying to show the possession. So S, after S, the apostrophe sign will come because parents are plural. The children have progress under their, and the spelling of there is T-H-E-I-R. T-H-E-I-R, not T-H-E-R-E. T-H-E-I-R. Their parents, after S, apostrophe sign and guidance. Now, the fifth word is witty. Witty means to have the intelligence and understanding to make the right decision or take the right action, as Birbal was a witty courtier in Emperor Akbar's court, isn't it? So, witty means to have the intelligence and understanding to make the right decision or to take the right action. So, my sentence is, he is by nature a joker and a witty man. He is by nature a joker and a witty man. Students, here after nature, please put a comma. And don't forget, as we are framing sentences, all our sentences will begin with a capital letter and end with a full stop. Keep in mind that when you try to frame a sentence, you need to begin with a capital letter and end with a full stop. And my next word is tantrum. Tantrum means to display bad temper. At times it happens when you don't get what you want, you try to show your bad temper to your mother, especially your mother, isn't it? So my sentence is, the boy throws a tantrum when he cannot have the toy he wants. Come on. The boy throws a tantrum when he cannot have the toy he wants. So, these were my 6 sentences, and you try to frame uh, more sentences on your own using the same words, since now the meaning is clear to you. Now, let's move on to the language structure. That is again an exercise based on synonyms. So, synonyms, what are synonyms? Words having similar meaning. Synonyms are words that have similar meaning. Now, for example, famous is a synonym for the word popular. Both popular and famous mean same. Words are different but having the same meaning. So, what we have to do in this exercise, children? In each of the following group of words, 3 words have a similar meaning and 1 word is different from the rest. So we need to identify the odd one out from the given 4 words. Like 4 words are given, we and 3 words are having the same meaning, and the fourth one is not having the same meaning. So we need to identify the odd word out and put a circle on that odd word. So circle the word that has a different meaning. Now let's start this exercise. First is speak, chant, utter, talk. Now, students, speak. Everybody knows the meaning. Speak when you speak something. Now, what does chant means? Chant is a song or melody, something repeated over and over again. It can be a song, a phrase, a melody, anything which is repeated again and again. Especially you have seen, especially nowadays, you're watching Ramayana and Mahabharata on your television screens, isn't it? The saints, they chant the mantras. They keep on repeating the mantras. That is chanting. If you go in a church, you can hear the priest chanting some religious things. So that is chanting. Fine. That is different from speaking. Utter is again to speak. Utter also means to speak, and again talk means to speak. So which is a different word out? Chant. So please encircle the word chant. In the first one, the odd one is chant. Now, the second, joy, pleasure, happiness, sadness. Again, joy means happiness. Pleasure is again happiness. Happiness is one is happy. Now, fourth word is sadness. This is the antonym of happiness. So, sadness is when you are sad. So, the odd word out in this second one is sadness. So, please encircle sadness. Now, third, girl, boy, child, lad. Now, girl, formal way, any girl, if we see, we call it a girl. Then, boy, again, if we see a boy, formal way, we call a boy. Child, we call child. These 3 are formal names for seeing this. Then the fourth word is lad. Lad means a boy or a young man, but then this word is used in an informal way. It's not used in formal language. So the odd one out is lad. And students, for your information, I'll tell you the opposite of lad is less. L-A-S-S. You need to know. Huh? Opposite of lad is less. And less is used for a young girl or a young lady, while lad is used for a young boy or a young man. So the odd one out is in this third one is lad, because it is used in an informal language. Fine. Now, let's come to the fourth one. Dawn, sunrise, evening, daybreak. Now, dawn means sunrise. When the first appearance of light in the sky starts coming, that time is known as dawn. That is daybreak. Again, sunrise is the same time. Evening, it is the time when the sun begins to set. It is the time when the sun begins to set. And daybreak is again sunrise or dawn. So the odd one out is evening. Please encircle evening. And children, for your knowledge, the opposite of dawn is dusk. When you happen to write the antonyms opposite, remember the opposite of dawn, D-A-W-N, dawn is dusk, D-U-S-K. That is the time when the sun begins to set. The birds, they start going to their nest, the cattle return back to their sheds or homes, wherever they are. So that time is known as dusk. And with the first light of the sun, that time is known as dawn. So the opposite of dawn is dusk. So the odd one out in this fourth one is evening. Now, the fifth one, few, little, scanty, tall. Now, few means something less in number. Little means again something less in quantity. Scanty again means something little. Okay. And tall is opposite. It means of more height. So the odd word out is tall, and the opposite of tall is short, isn't it? Okay. Now, the sixth one, plain, hill, hillock, mountain. Now, what does plain means? Plain means an area of flat land. When there is all over, you can say flat land, no ups and downs, that is known as plain. Whereas hill is a mount, isn't it? It's a mount. Hillock is again a small hill, and mountain, so everyone knows, again a hill. So the odd one out is plain. So please encircle the word plain. So I'll again repeat the first. In the first one, the odd word is chant. Second, it is sadness. Third, it is let. Fourth, it is evening. Fifth, it is tall. And sixth, it is plain. Now, word building. This is an interesting exercise. Now, you can see the spelling of encyclopedia is given here. There are so many alphabets used in this word encyclopedia. Now you have to form new words from the given alphabets of encyclopedia. I know you can do much better than what I could think. I could form only I could form only some words, but then you can form many words out of the spelling. Now the words which I tried to build from this particular spelling word, first was end, E-N-D, and. Then one could be A-N-D, and also E-N-D, and, comma, A-N-D, and, then, D-E-N, then, comma, cycle, C-Y-C-L-E, cycle, then, comma, cyclone, C-Y-C-L-O-N-E, cyclone, then in, I-N, in, then done, D-O-N-E, done, then nice, N-I-C-E, nice, then eat, E-A-T, eat, then comma, at, A-T, at, comma, deep, D-E-E-P, deep, comma, ear, E-A-R, ear. Now you can also form many words. Still many words can be built from this spelling. So please try and make new words from this spelling. Now let's start with the grammar exercise. Material nouns. Now what are material nouns, students? All those things which are made up of particular material. Like now you must be wearing a cotton shirt or a cotton t-shirt, anything. That shirt is made out of cotton. So that's again a material. Now there are windows in your room. Just look around and see. The windows are made up of glass. So that's again a material. Okay, you tell your mother to give you a glass of milk, isn't it? Now the glass in which she gives you milk, that's made up of steel, isn't it? So steel is again a material. Then you're sitting on a stool or a chair, that's again made up of plastic or wood. That is again material. And your mother is wearing beautiful gold earrings in her ear, isn't it? That gold is again a material. So all the things which are made up of material, which you can touch, you can see, are material noun. Now a material noun is the name given to a material or substance of which things are made. For example, the utensils are made of steel. At home, you can see many utensils, plates, bowls, spoons, glass, many things. They are all made up of steel. That's material. The table is made up of wood. Table, chair, desk, bench, many things are made up of wood. So they are again material. Now, in the above example, steel and wood are the material nouns. Now, we need to do the exercise based on this. we need to choose suitable material nouns from the help box for the following words. Fine. Now let's see the words. Wood, wheat, silk, iron, glass, gold, cotton, water, paper, marble. Now books are made up of paper. Books are made of paper. Now flour. Flour. How is flour made? It is made of wheat. When the wheat goes in the milk, it is grinded into flour. And from flours, your mother makes nice soft chapatis for you, which you relish eating, isn't it? You like hot chapatis? So, those chapatis are made up of flour, and flour is made up of wheat, which is grinded in the milk. Fine. So, flour, wheat. Furniture. Furniture is made of wood. Windows, glass. Windows, glass. Now, the fifth word is nails. Students, here there are two meanings of nails. One, not the nails given on your fingers or your toes. These are different nails. The nails which you push with a hammer on the walls. In Hindi we call it कील. जो कील आप दीवार पे गाड़ते हैं उसको हम इंग्लिश में nails बोलते हैं. Isn't it? Not the nails of your finger or toes, but the one which are pushed into the wall with a hammer. Isn't it? जिनको हम दीवार पे ठोकते हैं कील को. You fix something, isn't it? That is nails. So those nails are made up of iron. Now thread. Thread is made up of cotton. Cotton threads, when they are woven together, they make clothes, isn't it? Then sarees, silk sarees. Your mother, when she wants to look more beautiful, she wears silk sarees when she's going out for a function. So, sarees, silk. Then earrings. Your mother's wearing nice gold earrings in her ear, isn't it? So, earrings, gold. Then rainfall. You enjoy the raindrops on your hand and face, especially in the rainy season. So, raindrops are made up of water, isn't it? The rainfall, water. Then have you all seen the Taj Mahal? It's a beautiful monument made up of marble, white marble, children. So, Taj Mahal is made up of marble. Again, I repeat, books, paper, flour, wheat, furniture, wood, windows, glass, nails, iron, thread, cotton, sarees, silk, earrings, gold, rainfall, water, Taj Mahal, marble. Hope material nouns are clear to you. Now, students, the listening and telling exercise will be done in the class. After the lockdown, when the school reopens, we'll be doing this exercise in the class. Now, let's come to creative writing. Now, you can see some sentences. There's a story hidden in the sentences, and we need to put the sentences in the correct order. We also need to find a suitable title for the story. And I'm sure everybody must have heard this story, huh? Or you must have read it. Now, rearrange the following sentences in the right order to form a story. Rewrite the story in your notebooks after putting them in the correct order. Suggest a suitable title for the story as well. Now, students, remember that after arranging it in the correct order, we need to write the story in the form of paragraph so that it looks like a story. Not point wise, but we have to write it in a paragraph. Then we also need to give it a suitable title. That is the heading of the story. Fine. And remember, after writing the title of the story, leave one line and then start writing the story. So first I'll read the incorrect order, then I'll frame it into the correct order. But greed overtook him. It laid a golden egg every day. The farmer sold the eggs and soon he became very rich. Once there was a farmer. The farmer was very happy. One day he thought that he would have all the golden eggs at once. He had a wonderful goose, so the farmer cut open the goose. He repented over his foolishness, but he found no egg inside the bird. Now, I hope you can guess the name of the story, isn't it? The name of the story is The Goose That Laid Golden Egg. I knew that you were familiar with this story. So the name of our story is The Goose. Goose. Spelling of goose is Goose. The goose that laid, Laid, laid golden egg. Egg, everybody knows. You all like to eat eggs. Some of you eat, some of you don't, isn't it? Now, let's put the story in the correct order. And student, please try to write it in the form of a paragraph. Now, the first sentence will be, once there was a farmer. Once there was a farmer. Students, start the sentence with a capital letter. Please begin your sentence with a capital letter. And where you end the sentence, please put a full stop. And the next sentence will start immediately after the full stop. So, first sentence is, once there was a farmer, full stop. He had a wonderful goose. He had a wonderful goose. Third sentence. Please write after the full stop only. It laid a golden egg every day. It laid a golden egg every day. It laid a golden egg every day. Fourth, the farmer sold the eggs and soon he became very rich. The farmer sold the eggs and soon he became very rich. Fifth, the farmer was very happy. The farmer was very happy. Sixth, but greed overtook him. But greed overtook him. He became greedy. After getting a golden egg, he was not satisfied. He thought he wanted more money. Now, next sentence, the seventh one is, one day, comma, he thought that he would have all the golden eggs at once. One day, he thought that he would have all the golden eggs at once. Then, eighth one, so the farmer cut open the goose. So the farmer cut open the goose. Full stop. Ninth one, but he found no egg inside the bird. But he found no egg inside the bird. And the last 10th one is, he repented over his foolishness. He repented over his foolishness. Repented means he felt sorry, but he had killed the bird, and once you kill something, you cannot make it alive again. So he was repenting. Now the goose is not alive, so that she will again lay a golden egg for him, and his greed made him kill the goose. So he had lost everything. So his greed made him foolish. So again I read it, student. I'll again read the story. Please tell me. The goose that laid golden eggs. Once there was a farmer. He had a wonderful goose. It laid a golden egg every day. The farmer sold the eggs and soon he became very rich. The farmer was very happy, but greed overtook him. One day, he thought that he would have all the golden eggs at once. So the farmer cut open the goose, but he found no egg inside the bird. He repented over his foolishness. So students, I hope you'll be able to write the story of the goose that laid golden eggs, and please complete the wow words, word meaning, comprehension exercise, grammar exercise, and creative writing exercise in your notebooks. Fine. I'll be also giving the notes on Snap homework as well as WhatsApp group. So please complete your work so that you don't miss anything out. Now, next exercise is talk time. That will be done when the school reopens. We'll assign different roles to different students and we'll enact this play in the class. And I hope everybody will enjoy.